A couple quick impressions that I had of District 60 School Board. So there's going to be a school board election coming up, and the deadline is September 1st. So Voss was there, and then I heard that Calhoun was another person, and then O'Neill is running for his seat, and then I'm not for sure about the president. I want to say Sanchez. So this is the first school board meeting that I went to. You could go and give a presentation. You give 3 minutes if there's something that you want to talk to the school board about. They allot 3 minutes up to 30 minutes. So technically, 10 people could speak in the 30-minute time period. And then afterwards, they go to resolutions and some other shit. And I do want to mention something about the agenda. It's something I feel about pretty much every government meeting. Let me go through just to make sure I got all the sort of details. So there was about 15 members of the public, maybe 20 or so, that was sitting on, the public side. One of the school board members wasn't there, so there's 5 school board members, and Salenti or something, I forget her name, but she wasn't there. There was one that, so there goes her perfect attendance, right? No perfect attendance because she didn't show up. And all you needed was just one day. Barbara Clementi. So Barbara Clementi, she didn't show up for today's school board meeting, so you get 4 of the 5 that were there. They're able to get everything passed, so I guess if you get the majority, I'll just go ahead and mention it now. The thing that always bothers me with these government meetings is there's a lot of things that get decided, and it's decided as, let's pay the bills. Do you want to pass the agenda? And that's it, okay? So they wrote it down, so that's good. I'm happy that they wrote it down. So we actually did get to see all that they did, but the consent agenda. So the consent agenda is capital projects, facilities master plan, update project, capital project, emergency replacement of water heater for Ben Franklin Elementary School, contracts, off-school federal work study agreement between Pueblo Community College and Pueblo School District number 60. Contracts for each one of these lines. I don't know if they're doing it for legal reasons. Colorado High School Activities Association, Pueblo City Schools Education Foundation, Fall Sports Travel Facility Use Agreement between La Gente Youth Sports Incorporated and Pueblo School District 60, Fire Suppression Pipeline at Support Center, early literacy grants for Franklin Elementary and South Park Elementary Schools, fresh fruit and vegetable grant expelled in at-risk student services. So consultant agreement, there's a bunch of consultant agreements between Hazel Reinhardt Consultant Services. What the fuck did, consulting is just speaking. So you got paid to talk. And then Pueblo City Zoological Society Memorandum of Understanding between South Central Board. Another consultant agreement between Richard E. Carlstrom and Pueblo School District number 60 between Keating Research and Pueblo School District number... So who the fuck is Keating Research and Richard E. Carlstrom and Hazel Reinhardt? And what the fuck are these memorandums and all this supplemental budgets? What the fuck did we just agree to? What the fuck did I just watch? Okay, so there's a lot there on the consent agenda, which I would assume there's probably none of these items that I think I could talk to somebody about each one of these. So I am actually very happy. There's been board meetings where the minutes aren't being taken, it's not being recorded, and you definitely weren't there. You didn't feel welcome. So I feel like at least the perfunctory, the routine. I like the routine. It's all these school board meetings are online, so you could check them out for the last couple months, which I think that's safest and that's best. Just give the public every single bit of information that you got. I don't know if you could write an explanation for each one of these, specific item reports. I assume it's probably hard to compile all this and, put it all together. But there wasn't much conversation or discussion. They pretty much made all the decisions in closed doors, and that's the best, right? To make it look like you're a nice, united school board. You are able to agree to all this off to the side. As a member of the public, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And I don't like that. So having an ombudsman, having some person that just answers everybody's questions, that, you know, basically you want people to know what's going on. You want people to understand government, understand school board, understand the, you know, the mayor question and the city manager, and the fact that there's going to be some uncontested races. I think that mainstream media, government, and either the ignorance or the lack of gumption of the people, so lack of civics, how come the water board member, it looks like the water board member of the Civil Service Commission is not going to be contested, so the person who's already got the job is just going to get the job. Well, that's, what the fuck kind of democracy is this? You're telling me that every single person in Pueblo said, fuck the water board seat, I'm not going to be a water board member? Why would you reject it? You know, I would rather have a regular citizen in there than some career politician, you know. The incumbent, in general, I'm for throwing the incumbent out. Just get some new blood in there. Why would you want one motherfucker in there for the, you know, rest of your life? There's 5 water board members, so I'm sure one new one isn't going to shake things up so substantially. You know, the system could absorb the shock of having one radical water board member. And how radical can you get? You really want the water to be actually clean? You could have free water. I mean, there's not really too many issues when it comes to water board, but the fact that there's nobody else running for it. So this is really disappointing. The mainstream media and the government has not been giving all this information out. September 1st is the deadline for the school board race. So what the fuck? Nobody knows what the fuck is going on. There was just, essentially, before tonight, I found out O'Neill wants to jump in, but there was only going to be 2 candidates, and it's 2 candidates at large. So they would both win. They would be uncontested. They're the only ones that announced their campaign. They turn their signatures in. They're in, like Flynn. 2 school board members are going to be elected this year. And so I think there's at least going to be 3 candidates. Perhaps September 1st is the deadline. August 28th is the deadline for the city council, the city positions, the water board, and the Civil Service Commission. And so, yeah. What, is that for me? You want to know, are you here for me? Doubt it. So the Civil Service Commission and having the boards, I think that they've, you know, haven't told the public exactly what's going on in this thing with the meeting, with this thing here. I want to actually flip, you know, democracy is ruled by the people. If we're not learning democratic practices in our public schools, where are we learning these democratic practices at? So there should be democracy in the school. And so ultimately I think the power should go to the student, and the teachers and the parents are there to help guide the student, but you're there to make them strong. Don't make them dumb and obedient. Make them strong. And if you make them to where they can do anything, they will choose to be good. If you could do everything, why would you choose? If you chose evil, you've chose something very absurd. So, yeah, that's my impression with the entire agenda, all those consulting fees. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going on that I don't know what's happening. And then there's some things that you can understand, right? National Physical Therapist Day. So that's September 8th is National Physical Therapist Day. And then Ben Franklin Elementary School, which was a 1954 development. You had the charter, 1954, and then now it's called Franklin School of Technology and Innovation, something like that. It's not Ben Franklin. Ben has been dropped. Ben is gone. It's just Franklin School, and it's something about innovation technology. So now it's the Franklin School of Technology and Innovation. It's still the Franklin Elementary, but well, I guess they're fancy, and then Franklin just makes it more succinct. And so that's kind of the overall. One person doesn't get a perfect attendance. They were 11, 12 minutes late, so they were tardy. So how many times are they going to get on the students for being tardy? There's been car accidents, people wrecking and dying on the way to school. My favorite schools, the Sudbury Model Schools, and all you have to do is just check in, stick around for 8 hours, and that's it. There is no time that you have to be here at this moment in time. As long as you put in your 8 hours, you could just wander around, right? Just enjoy nature, read, and do your own thing. It's a pure, you know, democracy. It's totally, Sudbury School is a dream school, and it's actually cheaper than public education. So we should have I think we should have a Sudbury Model School here. And I think, how many radicals do you think could be on the school board? There's 5 seats. 2 of them are up. So the 3, it's already going to be a conservative majority anyways. So why not, get a couple radicals in there? I think that would be, the system could handle it. And it's the good ideas. That's where brand new good ideas come from. So let's see. Voss was there. He's a candidate. I don't know what Calhoun looks like. And then let's see. They accepted $92,000 in gifts. Just a piece of information. I did not feel safe with the 2 security guards there. One was a really old lady that I think she'd shoot her own foot before she would actually shoot the perpetrator. And then this other guy just kept eyeballing me, and it was like, what the fuck? O'Neill, his voice, he's a tall black man. He's a teacher. His voice was very soft. I just, noticed that. He was sitting there talking about the students, all the things that they had accomplished. Richard E. Bump is District 60 school board attorney. Not for sure what his story is, but he kept staring at me. I just look up and he was just like staring at me like a psycho, like he had been staring at me for such a long time that he was just doing the 1,000-yard stare through me, and then eventually he'd notice I was looking at him and then pretend, 10 minutes later that he wasn't looking at me. So they got a lawyer, right? Richard E. Bump, he's the lawyer for the District 60 is Pueblo City. So the county has District 70, but we're District 60. So let's see here. And that's pretty much all of the general impressions that I had of that meeting. Listen to what, I forget the guy's name, but he said he had charts and stuff, so he seemed like he was somewhat important. I wrote his name down. This is bad. Oh no! The guy's name is, and it's just from what they had announced, Brian Dale. I believe Brian Dale is the guy's name. He says that the longer students stay in District 60, the worse their scores are. Don't believe me? Listen.
So what I gave you on the first page there is a summary, grade by grade, for both language arts and math for the last 3 years, 2015 to 2017. So you can see the trends in each of those grades. And as you will see on that graph, there is a definite downward trend from 3rd grade to 9th grade in both math and language arts. I do want to note that if you look at the trend in 2015 for language arts, it was flat, meaning that the scores basically stayed the same. And that went downward a little bit last year, and then in 16, and then in 17, you can see the trend lines, the trend line that I put in that chart for you, which in summary means that the longer a student stays in this district, the worse their performance gets, which is concerning to me.
Just to you, Brian Dale, the longer, let's hear what he said, the longer that the child persists in this district with these scores, math and language arts scores from 3rd to 9th grade. So from 3rd to 9th grade, if you're putting your kids into District 60, apparently the scores are saying that their scores are not going up. Them spending years in District 60 is not increasing, their scores, which is supposed to represent how much math and English that they know.
Is concerning.
And he's saying it's concerning like it's not concerning to others?
Which in summary means that the longer a student stays in this district, the worse their performance gets.
The longer a student stays in this district, the worse their performance gets. That's District 60. That's horrible. That's shitty. That's the exact opposite of what the fuck a school's supposed to be doing. You're supposed to get better and smarter and smarter. I think these are like emergency schools, and the state is about to shut these schools down. Get some democracy. Look at the learning pyramid. Look at Maslow's hierarchy. The learning pyramid is absolute. Don't sit and stop lecturing. The best way to teach people is to teach others. So get your students to teach each other. When they start teaching each other, they're communicating, they're talking, they're teaching each other. That's showing kindness, and then they're listening, they're learning, they're teaching. My God, that's exactly what you want. Build a community. Build these positive relationships. where they'll be learning, for the rest of their lives. They'll, have to interpret brand new information. Education is a lifelong process. You don't just get a, big old cup of high school and then that's it. That is how it has been. It's definitely a top-down hierarchy. It's like a prison setting, and it's industrial Prussian. It's outdated. We're the information age. We're the internet generation. Gutenberg printing press for every single one of us, for every single individual. So it's a brave new world, and our school boards should reflect that, as our schools should too. Personally, I think it'd be a dream to see some democracy. It'd be a dream to see some democracy in schools. But that's pretty appalling, right? The longer you stay in District 60, the worse your English and math skills get. If you're in 3rd to 9th grade, if you have students in Pueblo City schools from the 3rd to the 9th grade, you should be worried. You should be very worried. They're not learning better English. They're not learning better math. They're getting worse. The school's making them dumber. And this is over a 6-year period. So, fuck. 6 years wasted just to make them dumber. They could have, stayed around the house and got dumber that way. The hell, they would have been, they would have stagnated. They wouldn't have got dumber. But to go get dumber, that means you're making them fucking retarded. You're making them stupid. You're making them backwards. What the fuck did you all do, District 60? That's really bad numbers. So that's, somebody needs to get on that. Someone needs to fix that. And perhaps the school board candidates, maybe they could say something about how they are going to fix English and math between 3rd to 9th grade, because they're failing. They're failing. So...